Why, hello. Today I'm looking at a biography in comics form of Elon Musk. And this book is actually not available yet in English. It is coming out September 9th, according to this publishing website. Um, September 9th, 2025. But the even though the author is English, he was able to get it published first in French. And I guess he was having trouble finding a American or English speaking publisher because he was afraid of some lawsuit or something. I don't know why. I don't feel like there's anything in it that would warrant that fear, but we'll take a look and see if that's warranted. But yeah, if you want to read it, you're gonna have to wait. If you want to read it in English, you're gonna have to wait until September. But if you want it in now, you can read the French edition like I did. Let's see. So a different cover, obviously, because actually, I think he finished this. I want to say sometime in 2024. So it doesn't cover even a lot of the things that. I mean, so many things have happened in the Musk universe in the last year or so. So there's a lot of things that are not included. I'm curious if the English edition is going to have more material, if he's going to like add more material onto the end or not. But who knows? Anyways, let's dive in. This is my first thing I've read by this author, Darryl Cunningham. And he's kind of carved out a niche of doing kind of progressive graphic novels. He did one on billionaires. He did one on Vladimir Putin. I can't remember the other ones, but this is the first one that I've read. I've actually started these other one, Billionaires, and I'll take a look at that briefly at the end of this video. But let's focus mainly on this Musk bio. So first off, right away, you notice that the art is very simple. It's very simple art, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's it depends on. You can do all kinds of things with comics, and sometimes, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying that sometimes the characters are almost faceless, or they look kind of like they've been just basically traced from photos, and again, I'm not totally knocking that either. I'm just saying that if you're going into this looking mainly for the art, I think maybe you're going to be a bit disappointed. Second thing I kind of noticed is that there's a lot of telling, not showing, and I think maybe that's because if he was fearing a lawsuit, he didn't want to deviate too much from things that if people have already documented, and he documents in the back of the book a pretty long bibliography of sources that he used. But basically, it's telling the story of Elon Musk's life that's pretty well known. It's been in a lot of biographies, but probably Walter Isaacson's biography is the most well known, one that came out I think 2 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know. And I actually tried to read that book at one point, and I got bored of it. So at some point along the thing, but I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like a lot of the characters are just like, who is who? If you didn't have this narration on top to tell you who is talking, you would have no idea. And that's kind of an interesting format, and it can work or it can not work. I'm just saying again that I think I would have preferred more of a like a Hollywood biopic type thing as opposed to this, which felt more like a documentary. But doing this format allows you to get a lot of more information, I think, than a biopic of the dramatized sort. So there's pros and cons. Yeah, I mean, it becomes pretty clear too that the author is. I mean, if you weren't aware of his kind of progressive bent, and I'm pretty progressive myself, so I'm not against it. I'm just saying that if you're like a diehard Musk fan or something like that, I assume there are such people. Then this is probably not the biography for you. I don't know which biography you want, but. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about Musk that were interesting. I think too that I was able to finish this one as opposed to that Walter Isaacson one because it is a lot more condensed and a lot of business dealings and so on, a lot of court cases, just a lot of paperwork and how both Tesla and SpaceX both nearly failed, but they survived. And yeah, a lot of the bureaucracy behind it. And yeah, I'm not really gonna look through every page. I think you kind of get the idea. But as you can see, very simple art style. Very little dialogue, more captions and narration than dialogue. Ooh, look at these these images of the Cybertruck. And yeah, near the end, he really kind of hammers home his point of view that Musk is basically a dick, and I have no problem with that assessment. um, Here's our conclusion. But yeah, like I said, these are all the articles and books that he references. So yeah, an interesting book, interesting look at Musk, who is unfortunately still in our lives. But like I said, I would have preferred kind of like a sillier narration, but I guess maybe that would defeat the purpose of presenting more objectively what he's done and how he works. And like I would have preferred like a cartoonier Musk rather than a realistic style Musk. Like this cover image is almost certainly taken from a real photo, and that's okay. But it just, it gives a book a certain feel. So, anyways, I'm recommending it if you want to learn more about Elon Musk. I think it's probably the most readable biography that I've encountered. I mean, it's only the second one that I've tried, but I did enjoy it more than the Walter Isaacson book, despite its flaws. And I'm curious enough to, I like this format in the sense that it gives you information. Like it's good for, I think, people that wouldn't make it through a Musk biography, or, teenagers or whatever, that just having this format to really move things along with the images. But I don't feel it fully takes advantage of the comics format, which is what I always want from an artist and author. I want more showing, not telling, which is what comics is for, is showing things using dialogue. And I did like the irony and the kind of sarcasm and the takes on the way things are shown sometimes. Like, obviously these are very simple photos, but using it over and over like this is kind of funny and ironic. So I think you get the idea. Then the other book that I am looking at it's called Billionaires, but I'm looking at a Spanish edition of this one that I'm reading. But this one is currently available in English. Let me show you the cover. Yeah. So this one's, I don't know if he intended it originally as I don't know, whatever the reason is, he focuses on 3 different people in this one. So they each get kind of their own section. And since they're each about 80 pages or so, it's possible they could have been separate books or comics, but he does zoom in on them all in one book. They're basically Jeff Bezos, the Koch brothers, and Rupert Murdoch. I haven't gotten to Jeff Bezos yet. I'm still in the Koch brothers. And it's interesting, there's a lot of kind of overlap in Rupert Murdoch anyways, I'm noticing, between him. Actually, the Koch brothers too. There's a lot of interesting parallels between the ultra rich and how they live their lives. You can see, though, the art style is pretty similar. Maybe it's a little cartoonier even, but there are lapses into moments where, like I said, they're obviously traced. Whoa, boobs! I learned a lot about Rupert Murdoch that I didn't know. So, anyways, very similar format, very similar effect. I think actually maybe this one actually has more dialogue, though. You can kind of see, but I think a lot of that dialogue just turns into narration rather than actual conversations, or pretend conversations even. So you get the idea. So I didn't love this book or this author of these books, but I enjoyed them enough that I would read them, especially in foreign languages, because I'm always trying to read in foreign languages. So like it's enough to interest me and keep going. And I will finish this one, and if I could find the Putin one in a foreign language or one of the other books, I'll check it out. But Yeah, you may enjoy this if you want an Elon Musk biography. September 9th, 2025, by Darryl Cunningham. Actually, let me go back to that. It will be out, and I guess it will have this cover, the the Sig Heil cover of Elon Musk. I mean, this everyone pretty much remembers this moment, and turning it into a illustration like this is pretty easy to do. Just kind of trace over it, but yeah. So maybe it's your cup of tea. So check it out, Elon Musk. I guess the subtitle of the American edition is going to be American Oligarch. The French edition has a slightly different subtitle, but you get the point. It's about Elon.